Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Karuna, and I really hope that my channel gives you a respite in a weary world. Today we're going to look at the massive topic of trauma and relationships. Specifically, we'll consider voice. I'll do future installments of a huge topic in upcoming videos. Many of us don't have a track record of developing voice and using voice. We didn't learn how to skillfully share our wants, needs, desires, likes, dislikes. If voice is not encouraged when we're young, how can we possibly know how to skillfully share our voice when we get older? Each of us deeply desires to share a voice. We each deeply desire to show up in romantic relationship or in close friendship and in our world, but we'll face many challenges when it comes to sharing voice. We'll look at two common scenarios I most often see in relationship, and we'll also consider the stages in development of voice. Perhaps a similar situation to what I'm about to describe has happened to you. You're in a challenging conversation with a friend or a partner, and the challenging conversation turns to disagreement. You don't know exactly what to say, you don't know how to say it, but you can just feel this uprising, this welling of emotion. Your partner or friend's upset, you're upset, and suddenly, as a result of this emotional upwelling and this disorientation, you dump truck a litany of vocabulary onto your friend. The situation settles down, and you move into apology mode. I'm sorry, and perhaps those apologies will continue for days. What's really going on with this dynamic from the perspective of trauma and voice? If our voice was not encouraged when we were younger, if we were met with scorn or disregard on those moments that we did share our voice, we will then feel guilty as an adult for sharing our voice. Here's what this equation breaks down to. Didn't share a voice. If voice was shared, felt guilty for sharing the voice. And on the other side of that guilt lives the feeling of, if I share my voice, I'm unlovable. Fast forward that to adulthood. Sharing voice unskillfully. Dump trucking. Guilt at that dump trucking. And then unlovability. So at a very young age, we picked up this idea. If I share my voice, I'm unlovable. Of course, this is going to play out many ways in adult relationships. If this is you, begin to notice this dynamic more and more. And you're fortunate if you have a partner or close friend or dear family member who can look at this with you and say, oh, okay, I get what's happening here. Let's diffuse this and not do it in the future. I want to be very clear that our responsibility toward our own trauma is to become healthy, become better in yourself. Not better than anyone else, just better in yourself. By understanding these dynamics, we depersonalize the trauma. We're less identified with the trauma, and that trauma will slowly start to lose its grip, slowly start to settle. That's pretty exciting. The second dynamic we'll look at today in relationship is the fix-it person and validation. I'm guessing you have a close family member, friend, or partner in your life who's a problem solver, a well-intended problem solver. Let's say you come to your friend or your partner with a challenge and you're emotionally exhausted, you're triggered. Your friend immediately moves into fix-it mode. What is it about immediate fix-it mode, well-intended fix-it mode, that falls so hollow with those of us who did not develop voice? When we go from challenge or trigger immediately to fix-it mode, we have missed a vital step in between the two. It's the bridge that will take you everywhere. Our emotional residue from not having voice, from not being seen, heard, taken seriously, listened to, it will well up into an emotional dam. We come to our friend with this emotional dam, and when the friend tries to problem solve, the emotional dam gets bigger. The vital step that starts to break down the infrastructure of that emotional dam is validation. Your validation of your experience, how you're feeling. The validation of being heard. You're having a hard time describing what's going on. Your friend goes into fix-it mode. When you find yourself in these type of dynamics, see what happens when your friend, your loved one, is a really good listener. They listen with soft inner ear. They see you, yes, in suffering or being triggered, yet they're simply present with you in that moment of hurt. To be heard, to be seen, breaks the dam. Waters start to flow. Those waters that once held all that emotional debris those waters fan out into a mighty river that becomes a delta, and that delta eventually subsides into the ocean. Validation heals voice. Validation heals relationships. To be in a relationship with friends, a loved one, a partner, where there's consistency, safety, and ease is deeply healing. When we come to ease, we're more likely to share our voice and feel safe in sharing our voice. There are 3 types of validation. There are some people that full on legit don't need validation. Second type of person primarily seeks validation in order to build up their sense of self. The third primary reason for seeking validation is for deepened relationship. When we feel safety in a relationship, as security in our own voice grows, the need for outer validation will sweetly start to diminish. There are stages in development of voice. In the first stage, we don't even know that we diminished or acquiesced voice. Your friend asks a simple question: what do you want to do for dinner tonight? Oh, I don't know, whatever you want to do. You're making plans. Where should we go next week? Oh, I don't know, you decide. You're at work. You feel like you don't have anything to offer during the meeting. In stage 2, you start to question, why don't I contribute more during the meetings? Maybe I want Mexican for dinner tonight rather than Chinese. A week from now, I'd really love to go hiking. You start to be aware of how much you diminished voice. You start to become educated. Awareness is key because there'll be an internal dialogue that goes back and forth. Why did you just diminish yourself? Why didn't you say something? It's kind of like a toddler. A toddler initially gets up on its legs and the legs are kind of wobbly, but then the toddler falls back down. It's kind of like that with our voice. We'll share our voice, we'll feel good about sharing our voice, and then we acquiesce to our old ways. If you have the awareness, it is inevitable that you will slowly begin to stabilize in the tree trunk of your voice. And in this third stage of maturing the voice, you're connecting, rather than the voice of the canopy, the shaky canopy, you're connecting with a centeredness that lives within. You're connecting with your own inner wisdom. We do this by doing right what we're doing here on this channel. We depersonalize the trauma. We recognize that if I share my voice, it no longer means that I'm unlovable. We start to question, why would I even think I'm unlovable if I share my voice? And we start to see how truly nonsensical that is. This nonsensical residue we picked up when we were younger. As our voice matures, we'll feel less self-doubt about what we share, and we'll be more invested in skillful language, skillful action. We start to learn this inner wisdom, this experience of the trunk, through prayer, through meditation, through cultural practices, reading inspiring texts, and being in nature. Now with our voice, we draw from the trunk rather than from the leaves of the shaky canopy, where we're constantly in self-doubt. This is the maturing of voice. Then the voice has come full circle, from being young, diminished, not heard, to coming full circle and to drawing from the reserves of your well-being. I invite you to bookend your day, first thing in the morning, last thing at night, with meditation. I have a meditation program on my website. The clips are 15 to 18 minutes. They help us develop a powerful trunk. If you bookend your day with meditation, you can allow all the stories of the day to go between those bookends. Try it and see what happens. Share this video with a close friend or your partner or a family member. Leave your comments below. And as always, let me know if there's any topics you'd like me to cover. I'll see you back on my channel very soon. Thanks.